Chris was in my life for over 30 years, and I don't have that anymore. It's just over.
America, that right there is the actual cost of catch and release. The man who killed her husband crossed our border illegally, got caught by Border Patrol, and the Biden administration sent him into North Carolina. Same 7-day stretch, 3 states, 3 dead Americans. How sterile the language sounds when you get to know what's actually behind this.
Christopher Babcock was the victim who died in that incident. And now 25-year-old Ernesto Lopez-Gomez is charged with felony hit and run resulting in death.
What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Christopher Babcock, 64 years old, married to Donna for over 30 years, 2 stepchildren, a sister. The people who loved him said that he had a laugh that could brighten up the whole room. Tuesday evening, he gets on a motorcycle, US Route 13, heading towards Greenville. A 2002 black Chevy Suburban turns left directly into his path. No warning, no time. Chris gets thrown. The driver doesn't stop. He doesn't dial 911, points the truck south, and just gets running.
Can't fathom anybody just leaving someone to die on the side of the road.
Leaving somebody to die, that is a choice here, not a reflex. Panic in your body makes you freeze. What this man did here was calculated. He knew staying was worse for him than leaving a 62-year-old man on the asphalt. Here's a layer local TV isn't necessarily connecting. Ernesto Lopez-Gomez, 25 years old, Mexican national, crosses the border illegally near Tucson, Arizona on March 1st, 2024. Border Patrol catches him at the line. The Biden administration releases him. No detention, no ankle monitor, a court date that obviously he never shows up to. He settles in North Carolina, a year and a half away from the intersection, 2 years of freedom, courtesy of a policy that prioritized processing numbers over actual accountability here.
Well over 80% of those processed at this facility are. It's heartbreaking to see, but it's also a reminder that Joe Biden's policies at catch and release aren't working for America. They're not working for our security. And ultimately, they're creating a situation where people from across the globe end up on our borders. We don't know who these people are.
Lopez-Gomez is the receipt on that particular statement here. We don't know who these people are. They didn't know who he was. And for 14 days after Chris Babcock died, they still weren't looking hard enough for him. Guys, I need you to pay attention to this specific timeline because this is where it gets absolutely infuriating. The ICE detainer on Lopez-Gomez filed the same day local law enforcement already had him in custody. Not 2 years ago when they should have been tracking him. Not during the 14 days he was free after killing Chris. The same day that he was already in Pitt County cell because surveillance footage and an anonymous tip did what federal immigration system wouldn't.
At the time of the booking, the magistrate was not able to verify whether he is a legal resident of the United States or his citizenship status. The magistrate ordered Pitt County to give ICE 2 hours of time to issue a detainer. The Pitt County Sheriff's Office confirms that a detainer has been issued.
Couldn't verify if someone's even legally in this country. That is not by accident. That is a system built to intentionally miss people. He was invisible for 2 years. A Spanish translator had to be brought in the day of his first court appearance. He lived in North Carolina, and the federal government had zero active awareness of where he was. Also, I want you to listen who else was sounding the alarms about this exact outcome.
We've sent the wrong message when we allowed new migrants to come across the border, be processed and released. And it incentivizes others in Central America to make that same trek.
Democrats from the border warning the White House in 2021, but they kept releasing anyways. That is a Democrat congressman from the border telling his own party's administration that this was building towards something really, really bad.
That well over 80% of asylum seekers never qualify for asylum.
I have proposed that we have a process for asylum seekers to ask for asylum in their home country or a neighboring country by going to a U.S. embassy or consulate around the world.
Process them, confirm they didn't qualify, release them anyway, and act surprised when they disappear here. If you already know 80% won't qualify and you release them anyway while they wait, you're not running an immigration system. You are running a catch and release fishing program for El Hombres, and America is the lake. While Lopez-Gomez was sitting in Pitt County with a $2 million bond, DHS was issuing an emergency bulletin. An illegal alien from Ecuador entered the United States in 2019, was deported, re-entered illegally. Nobody knows exactly when and where. March 19th, Morristown, New Jersey, he hits a 68-year-old man with a work truck, leaves him pinned underneath, and runs on foot. DHS is asking the public to call in the tip line because their own system can't locate him. On March 18th, one day earlier, ICE arrests a criminal illegal alien in Texas for a hit and run that killed a sheriff deputy. North Carolina, New Jersey, Texas, 7 days, the same week.
The precious 18-year-old college student named Sheridan Gorman was shot and killed while she was walking in a park. She was just walking into the park, didn't do anything. The illegal alien monster charged with Sheridan's brutal murder had come illegally from Venezuela and been released into our country by sleepy Joe Biden.
Walking in a park, that's all she was doing. The danger didn't find her. It was imported illegally. Walking in a park, riding a motorcycle home, crossing a street in New Jersey. These aren't people who put themselves in dangerous situations. They were living their lives. And the common thread here isn't necessarily the suspect. It's the policy that put each of them here with no accountability attached. Lincoln Riley, 22-year-old nursing student in Georgia, killed by an illegal alien Biden's administration released. Her murderer forced the conversation into the State of the Union, and Biden still managed to get her name wrong, calling her Lincoln, mixing her up with a football coach. Then he went further.
An illegal alien criminal who Joe Biden intentionally released into our country has been, and because he's released tens of thousands of people like this, tens of thousands, because you know they come from jails and they come from mental institutions. He released them into our country. Biden has implemented a formal policy that illegal aliens who intrude into the United States are granted immunity from deportation. Thus, when this monster showed up at our border, he was set free immediately under the program that Crooked Joe created. I call it free to kill.
Intentionally released. That word right there, you guys. Intentionally is doing a lot of work. And it's absolutely accurate. He called a murderer a newcomer while the Riley family was still grieving. A newcomer. Donna Babcock doesn't get to say I love you to her husband anymore. And the architects of this situation were worried about the vocabulary that they were using to describe a man who made this all possible.
They just told me prior to what I'm doing right now that Joe Biden went on television and apologized for calling Lincoln's murderer an illegal. He didn't want to call him illegal. He apologized. He said he should have called him an undocumented, not an illegal, and he wanted to apologize. He wanted to apologize, and well, they have a new name, too. They have a new name that's even worse. They have a new name. You know what the new name is? Neighbor. They want to call him neighbor. They want to call him another name. Did you ever hear the other one? Newcomer.
Biden's DHS owns the numbers. Over 75% of illegal alien encounters at the border under the Biden administration were released into American communities. It's not a rounding error. And here's the detail, you guys, that doesn't get enough coverage. DHS Acting Assistant Secretary put out a statement about Chris Babcock's death. She said, I quote, "This criminal illegal alien should have never been in our country."
The people that have been treated very unfairly are the people that have been online for 10 years to come into the country. And we're going to make it very easy for people to come in terms of they have to pass the test. They have to be able to tell you what the Statue of Liberty is. They have to tell you a little bit about our country. They have to love our country.
There are people who spent years trying to do this legally, who love our country, who are here legally, who passed every test, and they got passed up because the previous administration opened the borders up wide open.
Joe Biden's policies at catch and release aren't working for America. They're not working for our security. And ultimately, they're creating a situation where people from across the globe end up on our borders. We don't know who these people are. We don't know what's happening. It's completely wrong and it needs to stop.
Chris Babcock was killed in 2026, 4 years after a congressman stood at the border on camera and said, this absolutely needs to stop. That, my friends, is not incompetence that you can excuse. That is a decision that the Biden administration and Mayorkas and all those other figures have to own. America, Wilson Morocho Neca is still out there right now. DHS is asking the public if they have any tips, please call them. A federal agency is crowdsourcing the search for a man that should have been removed years ago under the Biden administration. That's what the Joey Biden administration has left us with. The pattern running from Lankin Riley to Sheridan Gorman to Chris Babcock to that Texas deputy to that 68-year-old pinned under a truck in New Jersey. It doesn't point to a string of bad luck here. It points to a machine that was built and defended for votes. The people who built it spent 4 years calling enforcement cruel, apologizing for accurate language, and rebranding killers as quote-unquote newcomers. Donna Babcock doesn't get to say goodnight anymore. That pillow sitting empty in Winterville, that's the receipt every single time. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.